Morning, ladybirds. How are you this morning? I hope you all slept well. I've got a story to read here for you. It's called Hansel and Gretel. Let's go ahead and read it. Are you sitting quietly? Up nice and straight, hands in your lap, legs crossed. Let's go. A woodcutter lived in a large forest with his wife and 2 children, called Hansel and Gretel. The family was very poor, and there was no money to buy food for them all. "We cannot afford to feed the children," said the woodcutter's wife. "We must take them into the forest and leave them there." "How can I do that to them?" asked the woodcutter. "They will be eaten by wolves." "You must," said the wife, "or we will all starve." There's Gretel, and there's Hansel in their beds. Hansel and Gretel were too hungry to sleep, and they overheard their parents. "Don't worry," said Gretel, "I have a plan." The next day the children's father gave them each a lump of bread and took them deep into the forest. Gretel dropped crumbs behind them as she walked, so that she can find her way back again, she whispered to Hansel. When they reached the middle of the woods, the woodcutter told the children to sit down. "I'm going to cut wood," he explained. "Wait here until I fetch you." The children waited and waited, but their father never came back. Let's see who's hiding in the tree. Oh, it's Mr. Owl. And who else is hiding in the tree here? Oh, it looks like a little squirrel. Hey, Mr. Owl and a little squirrel. And what? Oh, look, there's bunny rabbits hiding behind the bush. Little bunny rabbits hiding behind the bush. Right, let's see what happens. When night started to fall, Gretel turned to her brother. "Right," she said, "time to go before the wolves come out." But when the children began to follow the trail of breadcrumbs, they found that all the hungry creatures in the forest had already eaten them. "No, oh no," Gretel started to cry. "Now we will never find our way home." "Don't worry," Hansel comforted her. "As long as we stay together, we will be all right. Let's follow this little path. It looks as though someone has passed this way recently." They followed the path all the way down until it opened into a hidden clearing. In the middle of the clearing was a house. There's the little house. Can you see the little house in the clearing? What an amazing house it was, built completely out of food. The roof was made of chocolate and the walls of gingerbread. Everything was decorated with cookies and candies and icing. The hungry children fell upon the house, breaking off small pieces and cramming them into their mouths. Suddenly an old woman appeared. "Why are you children eating my house?" she asked. "When there is plenty of food inside." There's the lady of the house. Look at this house. It's made of candy cane and cookies, Smarties, gingerbread men. Also yummy. Yum, yum, yum. She welcomed them in and gave them a feast fit for a king. "You must sleep here tonight," she said. "I will take you home in the morning." Look at all this delicious food. Oh, look, Gretel's eating all the cake. Who's behind here? Oh, Hansel's got a nice big piece of cake too. Yum. "I told you we'll be safe," said Hansel. "We'll be back home tomorrow, and perhaps we can even ask to take some food to our parents." Look at the witch peeping in the window. Look at the beds. Aren't they pretty with the little gingerbread men on and the gingerbread at the bottom? Look at the little mouse pinching a cake. But in the morning Hansel was woken by the old woman dragging him to a small hut. She threw him in and locked the door and hung the key on a high hook. "I'll feed you and feed you," she crackled, "and when you're fat enough, we will have such a feast." Look at Hansel being put in the little house there. Then she woke Gretel roughly. "Wake up, lazy bones," she said. "There's work to do in the kitchen." She made Gretel work all day, cooking food for Hansel and eat, but she would not let Gretel eat anything for herself. Luckily, Hansel saved some of his food for his sister and gave it to her when the old woman was not looking. After a couple of days, the old woman wanted to see if Hansel was fat enough to eat. "Poke your finger out," she ordered. "Let's see how much fat you've put on." Hansel poked out an old chicken bone instead of his finger. "That's too thin," the old woman complained. "You're not ready to eat. I suppose I'll have to wait." Time passed and Hansel grew fatter, and Gretel too. But every time the old woman wanted to see if Hansel was ready to eat, he stuck out the same chicken bone. Look how fat he's got. And Gretel, from eating all those naughty cakes and candies, oh dear. Before long, though, she could not wait any more. She made Gretel light the oven. "I don't care if he's not ready yet," she said. "I'm hungry for meat," she told Gretel to get the oven and see if it was hot enough. Cooking up the oven. "I don't know how," said Gretel. "You will have to show me." "Silly goose," said the old woman. "Like this." The minute the old woman leapt into the oven, Gretel pushed her all the way in and closed the door shut. She grabbed the key to Hansel's hut and let him out. Before they escaped, they looked through the house to make sure there were no other captives. There was no one else there, but they did find a little box of jewels taken from other people the old woman had imprisoned. Gretel put this in her pocket, and the two children ran into the forest. They wandered for hours, lost, until suddenly they heard the sound of trees being chopped. Look at all the jewels in the box. "Father, father," they shouted, and ran towards the sound. They found their father cutting trees. Here he is, cutting trees. "It's a miracle," he said. "I thought you were gone. I have missed you so much and sent my wife away after what she made me do." The bunnies are so happy too. The two children hugged their father, and he promised never to let them go again, however poor they might be. "Let's go home and celebrate," he continued, "even though there's still no food to eat." "Never mind about that," laughed Gretel, pulling out the box of jewels. Look, there's the box of jewels. With these, we can buy all the food and drink we need, never need for a rest, all we need for the rest of our lives. They're dancing and they're happy. Look, dancing and happy because they've got plenty of money to go and buy their foods now. The end. There you go, ladybirds. I hope you enjoyed that story. And remember, if you eat too much candy and don't clean your teeth will fall out. So remember, go give your teeth a nice good clean today, and I hope you're cleaning them in the morning and night. See you just now, guys. Love you lots. Bye.